So I want to start with the first category of questions because there
Okay.
are about 5, and this one's about like your home country
Mhm.
and your experience there. So for my first question, I would like you to just tell me about your family and what they're like.
Okay. So my family is quite a big family. I have 6 sisters. I always have to remember how many sisters I have. I have 6 sisters and 1 brother, and I'm the oldest of all of them. My parents are very young. They're 20 years older than me. Yes, and so we live in outside of village, like very far away, and it takes hour to go to school. So I grew up in a very beautiful place. I think it was like mountains, and then I could see the lake every time, stars at night. So it was very like how can I say that? It was far away from everything, so I really enjoyed growing up there with my family. Yeah, I did.
Thank you. So what do you miss? Do you miss anything about them?
I miss a lot of things. I miss that closeness with my family, even though with the improvement of technology, betterment, I can talk to them now. Especially like late 2 years, I can like video chat with them and talk to them, but it's still very artificial. I miss talking to them, hugging them, and having like this long tea conversations that we always had. And it always seemed like a market to me inside of the house. Like it was like loud, kids are running around, and I miss that community feeling that I was part of something. Yeah, I guess.
So, would you say you miss that community feeling the most, especially in comparison to being here?
Yes. I feel very. I do have family here. And every day I miss sitting down and having tea at the end of the day, and nobody would eat without you. Everybody had to start, and parents starts first, and all of us would divide up housework and stuff like that. That's what I miss the most about back home. And I think not just my family, but my community is very like a little conservative and very like close knit. So everybody, it's very traditional. We have a lot of holidays and like this rituals and stuff like that. So everyone gets together and celebrate something. So I miss that part. Sometimes it would be like, oh, everybody knows everything about me, but at the same time, there are good sides of it, that whenever you're sad or whenever you are happy, you have people to share it with. So
Thank you. So for my next question, I was wondering if you could walk me through an average day in Kyrgyzstan while you were growing up there.
Okay, growing up there, so the average day would be like waking up very early in the morning and getting everybody up, the kids up that wants to go to school. So it was usually like several of us, so making sure that they have breakfast, my parents are up, and like making sure the donkey is ready to go to school. It would be a challenge to get that. Sometimes it would be missing, and we had to go by walk to school, so it was a lot of pain. So we would all get together, go to school, then make sure everybody's in their classes and stuff like that. But afterwards, we would all go to my grandma's house, and that was a tradition. We would go to her house and have a tea with her, because we will all, my dad, it's my dad's mom, so we thought, oh, she needs company. So would have tea with her, like, and she would make bread for us, and we would have tea, and then everybody would get together and go to the mountains back. And whenever we reached there, we would have a family like food, and afterwards we would divide all the chores, like one brings water, one helps outside for dad, like, you know, do like help with sheep or horses and stuff like that. And it was a lot of preparation to like make sure each animal is in this, like, you know, got into the barn, how many of them. So it's like we had hundreds of sheep, like, you know, 10s and 20s of like cows, and milking them. Everybody's intact, somebody's cooking dinner, and then all of us at night, like at 8 p.m. would get home and eat. Then my parents would go to bed, and like then it would be nighttime when my sisters and me would like clean up the house, and I would sit down and study. So it would be like very late. Sleeping was never like top priority for me, because most of the time I would end up doing homework for until 3 a.m. and then it would start again like that. So it was quite intense days.
Busy.
Very busy.
Cool. So, could you tell me what you liked best about living in Kyrgyzstan?
Best? I loved being inside of the nature. I loved that feeling of the time doesn't exist there. Like, we never had, appointments by time. Nobody went to like, we were invited at this time. No time ever like never existed. It's very funny, but they said when you invite somebody for tea or something, you should come for noon. And noon means like until for us would mean like from 11 morning till like 4 p.m. and you can come anytime at that time frame. And dropping by is a big thing back home. And yeah, like I never was rushed to go somewhere except for school, and I hated being late. But other than that, it was always free. You could use your time to do anything, like except like after you finish your chores and duties, you're free to do anything. And then it seemed like time was so long there. Days were very long because nobody cared about, let's do the next thing. And here I feel like very rushed, and I don't get to enjoy, like sit down and be like, like even breathe. I don't have time to do that. So it's very polar opposites in terms of time.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So we'll move on to the next category, which is Journey to America. So first question is, what options did you look at for higher education?
So that's a very good question, because when I was a kid back home, I was encouraged to go to school. I was encouraged to get education because that would give me a chance to work. But it was not the priority. Never was like, I have to. My parents, since I was like a teenager, like, early teen, they told me that, Syrga, it's very important for you to get a full funded education because we are not going to be able to afford it for you. So I studied very good. I made sure that I had good grades, and I was looking, where I can study, what can I study? And everybody would say, you should be an accountant, because everybody needs an accountant back home. And then I was like, then I will go and study to be an accountant for a while, and then I will come back and get married. So that was the only thing for a long time, until I was in 8th grade, and I had a Peace Corps worker who came to my village, and she started teaching kids English, and I was very interested in it. I tried to get in and to study with her. It was really interesting. after so many like failures, I was like finally got into the course and I studied it, and all of a sudden like there were like more opportunities that popped. Like I knew how to speak English. It was fascinating the first day I could say a sentence, and it all seemed like very, like, I don't know, that I could do anything. After that, I came to US for exchange year. Then I was like, okay, I can choose where I want to go. Like I can go the top school, university in Kyrgyzstan, or I can go to university here. But I was very homesick. I was never away from my home before I came to US, and I was sure that I was going back home and then stay there and go to school. I did that. I went to a school back home, but I really did not like it because of I didn't fit into that school. I didn't feel like their mission fit with my life goals of, like, being very exclusive and just thinking about, oh, what are the goals for just our future. And at the same time they had very negative outlook on foreign affairs, which is very understandable if you are a very small underdeveloped country. But I didn't like being negative. That's never been my experience. So they didn't like Americans and Russians, and they were like, no, we need to be the ones, and we're very nationalistic. So I didn't like it. So that's why after studying there for a year, I was studying and I was applying to schools in the US. So I decided to do so because I went to high school here, and I liked how professors were encouraging, how there was possibility of choosing what you want to study. It wasn't very focused area, like idea of liberal arts. Now I understand it. But at that time I was like, oh, I can choose classes. That was like liberal arts meant for me. And I was like, wow, I want to do that, and I will be exposed to many things. So that's why I chose to come to US. Yes.
Thank you. Cool. So can I ask, what does America represent for you?
America represents a good education for me. I haven't been in many places, but compared to back home, I think it's fair many times. To me, it's fairness because I've dealt with a lot of corruption growing up, and I feel valued. I feel like it's fair game when I have to compete for my grade, when I have to compete, earn my degree. I'm doing it and I'm working for it, and even if I'm not doing it perfectly, I still have the chance to improve it, and I will have a hand, help for it. So I really like that. America also means, what can I say? I'm trying to compare to what I had to now what I have, and that helps me to understand, oh, what do I have, what it means, because I don't usually think and sit down oh, does America have something? What does it mean to me? Ability to express, and I can be different, and I will be not looked at strange one, and I like that. Back home, it's very important to fit in. I like it, but still at the same time, when I think differently, they will look at negatively, and I don't like that. If I think something should be the opposite, I can still fit in, still be part of community, and that's what I like about America.